I'm gonna be on my promotions call.
Hey, Dave.
No promotions.
You better hurry and get yourself some coffee now. Didn't say anything.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Amanda, I just sent you my edited statement.
Excellent, thank you. I'm sorry I got that out so late. I think in the chaos of having the entire house infirmed, I overlooked it.
Don't worry about that. It's a first swipe, and so I'd like to see the statement, how it looks after other people's input and edits.
Yeah, definitely. I want,
Okay.
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I tried to send it with comments inserted, so hopefully it arrives in that condition. Thank you.
Absolutely, I will look for it here. All right. Give it like 2 more minutes and we'll get going. How's everyone's leaf season going?
Great.
It's such a double-edged sword. It's awesome, but it's
We've
exhausting.
been busy
Yeah.
and witnessed a few potential fistfights for parking spaces.
That is wild. That's happened at our place too.
Yeah, so I think it is busier. Sure seems to be. Rose Street is.
It's nuts.
I guess the advantage of being kind of right in downtown without a parking lot is we don't see any of that. So they must have their fights and everything, and then they walk to the brewery. And by the time they get there, they're ready for a beer.
Or they've been at the brewery and now they're extra feisty. No.
Yeah, we send them to Cooper's and then they fight in the parking.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Then they get to find their parking spaces.
No, it's before they go to the brewery. I think the brewery calms them down.
I
They're
agree.
fighting for a parking space, so they're new arrivals. They've just come in.
Yeah. Yeah, we have people that, I mean, like, I don't know if you guys have driven by like around 11:45, but like we start to form this like Woodstock-esque line that goes all the way around the rocks. And usually by noon, we have people in that line that can't sit because we run out of tables and they are extremely unhappy with us. Like I've put up signs saying, please don't line up, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm like, make a reservation, then you won't stand in the line and not get sat. I'm sorry. Don't have enough seats. All right, it is 8:01, so we will go ahead and get started. Why is Mary an attendee? Mary, come to the other side. You are.
She must have just joined. I'll promote her.
No worries. I was like, Mary, you can come to the table. All right, it is 8:01 a.m. on Wednesday, October 16th, and I call to order this meeting of the Georgetown Business Promotions Commission. May I have a roll call, please?
Hey, Chairman Amanda Cooper,
Here.
Vice Chairman Justin Dowd,
Here.
Kevin Kaharik,
Here,
Steve Skowski,
Here.
Paul Boat,
here,
Mary Smith,
Here.
and let's see, Kyle Rutten.
here.
Okay, and that is everybody.
Excellent. All right. Agenda approval. Do we have any? And I have one addition to the agenda. We're going to have a discussion on marketing support targeted for businesses. Kind of trying to maybe have a discussion about how we can support the business community through marketing that might appeal to staff and employees. So we'll add that onto the agenda. And does anyone else have anything that they need to discuss today that is not currently on the agenda? Okay. Can I please get a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
And a second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Welcome to audience business. Members of the audience will have 5 minutes to present any matter of concern to the commission. I do not see any audience business today. Jen, were you aware of anyone that wanted to come in and speak to us today?
I'm not. I don't
Okay.
have anybody.
I didn't either. All right, moving on. Welcome new business owners. I don't think we have anybody new that we haven't talked about. Okay. And we'll get right into the agenda then. First things first, the chili cook-off. I don't know if Jamie was planning on attending today. I did get a text from her last night, and I know that Jen Jordan has been in contact with her a lot. Jen, I believe last night's conversation was that there was 8 teams Saturday and 14, maybe 15 teams on Sunday. And she was just looking for one cocktail sponsor. And then like 4 minutes later, she said, found it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. So it's going to be a really great event this weekend, obviously benefiting 2 really important charities within the Georgetown community. And it will just bring a really great atmosphere to the historic district when we have everyone here in town for this last big weekend of leaf peeping. I think that's kind of the assumption, is we think this is probably going to be the last weekend. And then there's also a lot of other things additionally this weekend. I don't think there's anything else that we need to talk about on chili cook-off. Is there, Jen Jordan, that you can think of?
Not that I can think of. It sounds like it's all pretty well organized and ready to go. Volunteers are in place. All the safety measures are there. And it sounds like the teams are ready to go and paired up. So all good.
Have the booths been cleaned?
First question.
That I do not know.
Okay.
That I will
They-
find out today.
Yeah, they tend to fill up with leaves, dust, and trash.
Good.
And so we may need to call on parks personnel and volunteers to make those ready for the event.
I have some other things I have to do over there today. So I will check that out and make sure that whatever needs doing gets done.
Cool. The other thing I was going to see is there a timeline that has been finalized for Sunday that could, I know it starts at 11, but I don't know much else.
Set up other than setting up at 10:30 and volunteers reporting to the park at 10:30, that's about the timeline, and then cooking until we run out of chili. Hopefully in the afternoon, but hard to say.
Yeah.
Depending on how many people we attract this weekend, which could be crazy. We just don't know. So could be 11 to 12. But
the last
that's
chili
not
cook-off,
the
if
idea.
I recall, we had a lot of chili, and I ran back to the restaurant twice to re-up on chili. And then eventually I gave up.
So we're kind of figuring 100 people per day is the estimate at 4-ounce samples of cocktail and chili. That's about 3 gallons.
Perfect.
So we're hoping that that'll last us, but that's what I have told everybody to plan for. And I'm assuming Jamie as well, since I got that information from her. So I think we should be okay.
Awesome. And then the only other thing that comes up in the Strauss Park booths at every event, not just chili cook-offs, is the infamous electrical issue. That's just honestly just an uphill battle. And so how many booths are in Strauss Park? Is it 15? Okay.
Man,
And they all have power, Mary? I'm looking at Mary.
Yes, they do. Well, you want to
theory.
double check it, but yes, in theory.
Some
And
have.
did you find the circuit breaker box, Jen, behind?
Mark did, yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Yeah, we're good.
I think that's the beauty is everyone that is there on Sunday will know where it is, and we'll run around and just
We'll
click
be
the
good.
breaker.
Are you bringing thermometers?
Yes,
Okay,
I will.
that's the one thing I was gonna ask you. Okay, perfect.
I will handle that. I actually have to go to Restaurant Depot today. So if there's anything else anyone needs, I'll be at Restaurant Depot after this meeting. So,
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, I think Jamie's done a really awesome job of organizing this event. I think it's going to be super cool for that it's coming back for its 2nd annual. And I'm excited to participate and eat a lot of chili on Sunday. The cocktail is going to be fun too. So that's good stuff. All right. Anyone else have anything else on chili cook-off? Hello, Kent. How are you today? Welcome. Okay. Visitor center brackets for banners. And I know Jen Jordan told me that she'd gotten some bids. I will let you go through that briefly.
Oh, sorry, I muted. The bid that I got, the best was from that same company that has been ordered before. It's gone up in price like $4 from the last time we ordered. So I believe it's $213 for the 3. We need 3, right, Paul?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that the same company I used?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were the fastest to respond and the cheapest in price. So I figured that was what we would probably, as long as you were satisfied with them in the past.
Sure. I just want everything to be uniform.
Yeah.
No, we might need to, there's a couple that might need to be replaced too. There's a banner on Argentine right before the fork for the train that doesn't have a bottom bracket anymore. It's just flapping. I noticed it. So we might need to do.
More than 3.
We might need. Well, and maybe we should do it. I mean, are there? Oh, hello, Kent. Yes, tell us how many we need.
We've ordered some more rods, and the road and bridge staff takes care of it at various times. They've had to do it already. We've ordered some more, and with the lift that we have now, it's not that difficult to take care of it. So
we only need 3. Cool.
So the bid for 3 is $213.50.
Jackie, so it looks like
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward to move. I mean, we need to get those done. So go ahead, Paul.
Go ahead and order them.
It's 3. I just want to verify it's 3 sets, right?
Correct.
Okay, because that company sells them as each individual.
No, it's exactly how we ordered it before in the 3 sets with the hardware
Fabulous.
Yes, that goes along with it. All right, I'll go ahead and order those then.
Okay.
As long as we're good with that.
How much is it? 213, how much?
$213.50.
Okay. I think because of the brochures being so much less expensive, we can figure that out. So we just need a motion to expend that $213.50 for the brackets.
I make a motion to spend that 213 for the brackets.
Can you say $213.50 $230.50 for the motion? Sorry, it was.
Yeah, you broke completely up, Amanda, whatever that amount was. 214, how much?
$213.50.
$213.50.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Perfect, motion carries. Okay,
I'm
So-
abstaining.
for the record, Paul abstained. All right, so we'll go ahead and get those ordered and we'll get those up at the visitor center. Okay. Sorry, I took my video down for a minute because I apparently have unstable internet because that's just how we work.
Georgetown.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mute and turn it over to Jen for her events update.
All right. Well, so many events happening. Brochures will be here on October 13th. So I will be working hard to get those to the visitor centers ASAP, but that is when they will be, printing will be completed and they will be delivered. I'm just sort of following your itinerary here on the events update. Mustang Club is coming in on Saturday. They're having a 40-person plus brunch at Happy Cooker. Happy Cooker is super excited to have them. They're super excited to be here. They will be here somewhere roughly 9:30 to 1. They are going to drive themselves into town for Steve and my coordination. I have provided them with maps on how to come in at the both angles like they wish to do. Marv isn't here, so it's just easier to have them drive themselves in and park the cars. We'll have the barricades up, obviously with the room for EMS vehicles on the street. So that is Mustang Club. John Dever's
Jen.
Yeah.
So what's the plan for taking the barricades down? Meaning what time? And is there any expectation with the Mustang Club? Because in years past, a lot of them left, but then there was a couple of lingerers that were just kind of staying right in the middle of the street. And to the degree we give them a deadline so that we can get the barricades out of the way, it would be better.
I think that, 1 o'clock is the time that they set. So I can make that expectation with Mark that that's when we're going to move the barricades. Their cars are there, then they're subject to whatever, but which they won't like. So I think moving the barricades at 1, what do you think?
Well, I think you move the barricades at 1 o'clock. You set that expectation.
Yeah, I agree.
But they need to understand that their cars need to be parked normal, not angled into the curb. And that probably is just a matter to for Randy's team to make sure. We don't want to open a barricade and then have obstructions in the street because then you have two-way traffic that can't get through.
Sure. I will set that expectation with Mark when I speak with him today. We're scheduled to just briefly chat today. So I'll let him know that that's when the cars need to be moved by, and that's when we're moving the barricade.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So.
Okay. We'll do that for sure.
And just following up too on Mustang Club, all of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted on the street closure permit and all of that.
Yep, we got that all good to go.
Yeah, I signed that and gave it to Jennifer a couple days ago.
And we're expecting, I think, 20 to 25 cars, just FYI for managing that expectation. John Denver's Georgetown will obviously be happening. Also, at the same time, Rob has provided vans for both days that will do some type of John Denver covers. I have a 100-inch screen to silently play the Christmas gift next to music in the park. just because the imagery I think would be nice to have of Georgetown while the live music is going on. Anne Marie is providing walking tours of the John Denver sites. The link to sign up for that is on the events page. I've also had Travis pushing it on social media once social media became a thing again. When I asked him to really push it was when Facebook and Instagram were down for 7 hours, but I have seen it up since. So hopefully she gets some good traction with that. Posters, we just kind of decided not to do the big posters. I have printed that same poster that was designed as sort of the flyer and the theme for the day. Bighorn Sheep meeting was rescheduled to tomorrow.
Sorry, Jen, just to add to it, I'll be pulling the Busy Bee out and putting it in front of the post office.
Yes, that's right. Thanks, Steve. I forgot about the Busy Bee.
Are you
Busy
doing
Bee will-
part of the Hotel de Paris at all, or just the post office?
Well, we have the Mustang Club and Jen, are you blocking off just the 2 blocks or are you blocking off in front of the hotel too?
Not in front of the hotel. Just the 2 blocks.
Well, then I'm pretty indifferent. I can park it in front of the hotel just as well, instead of the post office.
Kevin, what are your thoughts on that?
We need all the draws into the 400 block that we can get. So I'm for it.
I feel like in
Okay,
years
I'll park-
past, it's been
I'll
one
park it.
day post office, 1 day hotel, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, there's only 1 day of John Denver, right?
No, it's both. It's both days.
Really?
Yeah, we've got, I mean, it's pretty much just a replica, but it does go on both days.
No, I'm just whining that I have to pull the car out twice.
Sorry.
I'll go ahead.
Sorry, Steve.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Paul.
I don't understand why we would ever block off in front of the post office. It's not a business that needs draw. And there's countless studies out there that talk about when you block off at a festival or block off in a business sense, you're creating a visual and psychological change that prevents people from going down to visit active businesses. It's bad enough that the parking lot and the building styles end right before the 400 block. So, but when we do that, when we have events, we are actually hindering business for those places. We're not just ignoring that side of the street, we're hindering them from having business. So I think that we need to rethink how we block off those streets every time, because it is an impediment to that part of the town. Thank you.
That's a good point. I think my understanding of why the post office is a spot for the Busy Bee is because of one of the visuals from the movie. Because there's that one part where it's like in front of it's not the post office in the movie, it's something different. But
yeah, I understand that part. I just think that the way we block off the streets is kind of a mess.
Are you talking specifically for the Busy Bee or for the Mustang Club?
I think for the Mustang Club, I think for all of it, I think the draw needs to come down all the way down the street to the hotel. That part of the street, even though there's a photographic opportunity and the post office was used in the movie, is just it's challenging to me. The hotel was in the movie, so.
Exactly.
I personally like the idea of it being at the hotel. I think that's a better place. I mean, they're both nostalgic in the movie, but I like it there. So I think that's a good way to go, Amanda. As long as Kevin's cool with that.
I have no, as long as Kevin's fine and as long as it's out, I think that's what matters the most. So
I'm fine.
So
okay.
And I think Paul makes a good point about Georgetown businesses. Even though the post office operates within the confines of Georgetown, it's really not a Georgetown business, whereas I am.
For sure. No, and obviously our goal is to draw business. Again, I think my understanding with the specifics on the Busy Bee placement for the post office is because of the opening scene from Christmas Gift. So, which I'll look at silently while a band plays on this weekend.
Thanks, Dave.
So just just so I'm clear, I'll park it both days in front of the post office, or in front of the hotel.
Correct.
And it'll be kind of facing the the opposite way of the street, so it'll be facing towards Taos. And it'll be in where the bus parking is, correct?
But is that street open this weekend? That is 400 open?
Yeah, that block will be open.
It's just 600 and 500 that are blocked.
Correct.
That's what I was addressing.
Okay, I got my marching orders.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So that's all the housekeeping on John Denver.
Bighorn, I
And
don't
right
have much of an update. We rescheduled the Bighorn meeting for tomorrow. So I don't know if Paul has any updates for Bighorn, but I don't have anything for right now. I will probably have more tomorrow after that meeting.
Same as always.
Sounds like it. Tree lighting. I am working with Beth on that committee now. Just asked how Parks would like me, or if they would like me to be involved in that process at all. She said she would love for me to be involved, so gave me some particular tasks that I can pick up for tree lighting. So that will be a good collaboration. Not much on Christmas market. Obviously, the Mary's put flyers up. We have things going to advertise. Mary, are we still looking for one more vendor?
No, we have a wait list now.
Okay.
So we're going to
Nice.
explore some other options. Just a note that I'm concerned about, that we all need to be concerned about, is with the construction of the restrooms and the timing and the utilities, and hopefully the electricity is not affected when Christmas market starts. Kent, we will hunt you down.
I noticed one thing on the website. It still has last year's 2020 Christmas market saying it was canceled. So I didn't know who to tell.
I tried to
about
find
that.
it
I just wanted to
yesterday and I
mention
couldn't
it.
find it because I know you emailed me that, and I meant to tell you that when I was in town hall and I forgot.
Kyle can probably speak to that better than me, but it's not actually live on the actual website that I can see. It's just if you Google it, it comes up with that canceled page. Kyle?
It was on the website. That's where I saw it because I was on it. I mean, I'm sure, just so someone knows.
Yeah, no, we
emailed
were
me
looking
that
for it
too.
yesterday. We couldn't find it.
And I was trying to find it too, and I was like, where did it go?
We'll find it. We'll fix it if that's where it is.
Me.
Can someone bring me up to speed? Sorry.
No, you're fine.
No, they're just saying that the canceled Christmas market still comes up on the website. I don't see it there, but I may be
Under the winter activities, I could not find that yesterday. Sarah Christmas market, yeah.
I'll look for it too. I'll pull it up here.
Yeah,
I just found it.
Okay.
Did you
I'll
find
pull
it?
up. Yeah.
That's easy to.
It says
Oh
the
my-
2020 Christmas market has been canceled due to COVID-19 regulations. So I can just remove that language, right?
Thank you. Sometimes I go looking for things. And
I think
can't.
it was under winter.
Was it under? Maybe that's what.
I'm trying to look for it now. No, that's.
Oh, it's
no,
just
that's
on the
not-
Christmas market.
Anyway.
So I'm seeing it. I just Googled
Okay, cool.
Georgetown Christmas market, and it came right up.
Thank
Cool.
you, Jen, for
Thanks,
pointing that out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I meant to tell you yesterday when I was at town hall that I was, but there was a lot of people in town hall and I felt like I was interrupting, so I just bounced. So thank you for pointing that out. Paul, go ahead.
To circle back to electricity, do you think that maybe so that we're not left in the end, that we should preemptively possibly get a generator truck?
I have a
Christmas market?
massive generator that my husband bought for some unknown reason. I don't know how much it powers. Supposedly it can power my whole house. I've never tried. Maybe he was having like a prepper day. I don't know, but I would loan that. I don't know if that would do any good or not.
We're gonna run extension cords from Guanella Pass Brewery.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that they're red and green.
So I had an event where somebody did that off of someone's house, and they said the house had permission, and the people came back to a $3,000 electric bill because it was running an entire tent and a new music venue. Just saying.
I would loan my generator. It's not quiet.
That's why I was thinking a truck.
I think we need to hope that the town has that part coordinated.
Excel is scheduled the end of October, possibly the first week of November, as far as
piece of
the
cake.
electrical and gas. So at that time, about a month out from Christmas market, then there'll be a little bit of reassessment as far as what is actually needed. But it's good to think about possibilities that would be needed. So
Disasters.
yeah, but the water, all the utilities, the water, sewer, electric, gas, at least the rough end, and because they're undergrounding the electric in order to set the restroom building, and the gas is being moved, and as well as the rough end for the water and sewer. That'll all be done. Then the crane will come to lift the in the first week or two of November. I'm getting a little bit, that'll be another thing that it needs to kind of get pushed to get done as far as CXT and the transport here. But it should all be done within the first half of November. You know, wanted them by November 1st so that if things didn't work out right, which it happened, and it's another week or two in November, that's still before Christmas market. But hopefully no more things become an issue. So,
Paul, are you using Strauss Park for Bighorn at all? I mean, electricity wise in the booths?
We try. It depends on if Jen can get vendors there, but we always use Strauss Park.
Well, I know, but I didn't want to assume that Christmas market was the only need that comes up in November. So if there's things being constructed over there that could impact.
Yeah, thank you. Because I wasn't, that level of coordination hasn't been, expressed to me, but I know that we didn't have the meeting the other day. So if the town departments could make sure to talk to each other since we're in this, so that I can know if our mutual event is going to be impacted, that would be very helpful since it's all in Strauss Park and in Library Park and has been for 11 years, 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. So yes, thank you for that, Mary, because I was not anticipating that. Because I've not been informed of any building schedules.
I think the building schedule is pretty recent because I saw Cindy Neely yesterday, actually, and she was staring across the street trying to figure out the construct. If you go look right now in the parking lot across from Guanella Pass, there are some pink X's in that parking lot, and that is the parameters of the beginning of the process. Yeah. Like, I don't even think DRC is seen a lot yet. Kind of what I gathered.
If we don't have vendors, all we'll use, we put people in those booths, but I don't think there's a huge electricity component to it. It's during the day and there's no one cooking. And hopefully that won't tear up the whole park at that time. I'll talk to Cindy.
The only thing that's going to be affected by the utilities is the parking lot. Nothing within the booths or within the common area will be affected. Because the restrooms is behind it. It's actually behind Nisel and Anderson store.
On that note, with the Sheep Festival, if anybody wants to volunteer to get a bunch of willow branches and make them pointy at the end so that people can cook their marshmallows, I would really love that. That would be helpful to me. So Kent, I know you're leaving, but this is a good plan for you. Maybe you could do it. Were you a Boy Scout? I don't know.
You could work on it. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Maybe.
I'll help him.
My volunteer is not doing it this year, so.
We'll figure it out.
If I have any willow branches in my yard, you can have.
I have a whole willow patch in my backyard. I'm afraid of ticks.
I'll get my kids. All right. What else on Christmas market and big circling back to Bighorn Sheep, obviously. Upcoming festivals.
That's all I know about the upcoming festivals. Like I said, Bighorn I'll know more tomorrow.
And when's the next Christmas market meeting?
September or October, yeah, let's say September. October 14th, is that a week from Thursday?
What time are those meetings? Can I come?
5 o'clock, sure, the more the merrier.
Awesome. I'll just sit and listen.
It's okay, you can speak. We don't hold back. But it is in person. There's no Zoom.
That's fine.
Okay.
I will get someone to watch my darling children.
Manager Jordan, you are also more than welcome and invited.
I will be there.
Okay. All right. Go ahead with the rest of your report there, Jen.
I think that's pretty much all I have. The Colorado Tourism was on there as well. I was awarded the scholarship to attend.
Yay!
So yay for that. I'm excited for that. So the only part that would need to be worked out is the lodging, but you can put in for reimbursement for that as well as the actual scholarship. So it looks like it should, and as long as I don't stay at like the Pueblo Four Seasons, it should be okay for me to get reimbursed for all of those expenses. So
that's awesome.
Looking forward to that.
What are the dates on that?
It is the weekend of November 3rd. So the first weekend in November.
That's awesome. That's great. That'll be
really. I hope I will have a lot of great information to report back and learn, and excited to be able to be a part of that. So
perfect. That's exciting. I'm glad that you get to go. Does anyone else have anything for Jen Jordan before we move on? Okay. I did just notice this, and Jennifer, you and I talked about this yesterday, and I feel really silly. I just overlooked this. We wanted banners on here per discussion with the Board of Selectmen the other night, and I totally thought I had put it on here, and I thought we talked about that yesterday, and I don't see it. So we need to make an additional quick amendment to the banners discussion.
Yeah, it's on there. I was, when I mentioned that, and then I'm looking at the agenda now, I don't know, is it under Visitor Center and we skipped it? Or is it?
I saw brackets. I swear this was like, we both saw it yesterday. So
I think it's on there. I think
it's on maybe on the printed.
At least it is on mine.
Anyway,
yeah.
Banners, and it should actually be the next agenda item. Because I remember looking at the agenda and seeing it here. So we're gonna have a discussion on the banners. What I want to caveat on the banners here is this is partially from a discussion that occurred on the Board of Selectmen the other night. I wasn't on the meeting, so I'll let Mary get us up to speed. The biggest thing I before the commission gets into the banners is I do want to stress that like we voted on these, we support the design. The issue is not the design. And again, this commission, everybody looked at the same PDFs that I looked at. We all liked them, and we do like them. It's the issue with what we're seeing is not, I don't think could have been prevented from looking at the PDFs that Kyle went out. Obviously the issue is the contrast of some of the darker colored banners, making them hard to read. So this was a discussion on the Board of Selectmen meeting the other night, and I don't know exactly what the tone of that was because I was not on that meeting, but Mary, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit, and we can discuss a solution.
Just as a general comment, a board member brought up concern over some of the banners and the coloration, which we're all well aware of. And so Kent and I indicated to the board that this was a situation that the commission BPC was discussing. One of the suggestions was, obviously to perhaps redo the affected banners, or could the existing banners be reworked or changed without having to reprint the entire banner. A couple of board members indicated their support of funding if necessary to rectify the matter, and we really just tried to leave the conversation and allow you, BPC, us to take care of it.
Well, I think personally, I take that feedback as being extremely supportive of not only, tweaking the banners we have, but of the overall idea and concept and the artwork that Kyle ultimately provided. So again, I'm tired of everyone giving Kyle kudos on what a great job he did, but I'm going to do it again because it tells me everybody loves the banners. We just want to, optimize them. That's all.
And that was what I had. That was the point of kind of my opening statement here, is that if we all like the design. There's no, it's the design slick. I think it's cool, but so if we can figure out a fix for the affected ones without putting Kyle through hell and back, which he's already been through on these banners, I think he's going to have banner PTSD for the rest of his life. Kyle, what do you think can be done on the blue and purple?
So my opinion is blue, purple, and red are all basically impossible to read the black ink and need to be reprinted where all the text on those is white ink. And I'm fully prepared to pull the trigger on that. And in my opinion, that should land on my shoulders financially. I don't see why there's a question here. I'm the designer, and it's something that should have been thought about. When I will say,
excuse me, I object wholeheartedly on that. We all approved it.
Exactly.
And we get it. So let's just take that off the table, Kyle. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, I was just going to say that when you stand in front of the banners indoors, when they handed them to me, this issue wasn't there. It's when they get outdoors, it's weird. And you get kind of far away that this issue manifests. So it's a little trickier than just a dumb oversight. But regardless, I would say that those three colors should be reprinted. In my opinion, that's going to solve the problem. I would think that in terms of cost, we'd be looking somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000 to $2,000 to reprint the affected banners.
Okay.
Is there, Kyle, would there be any benefit to printing one example of each and see if it does solve the issue out in the open before doing the whole set?
That is certainly an option. If you look at the white text on those banners, you can kind of see what it would look like if all the text was white. So, but if you guys want to do that just for a layer of redundancy, since we've experienced an issue like this already, I'm happy to facilitate that. That's no problem at all.
Kyle, and I'm happy to take on the actual facilitating of the reprinting myself as well. And you can do the redesign and let me know how we're going to do that. But I can take that part off your plate if you just let me know the info that I need.
Well, I would probably take you up on that. I appreciate that. Just to save you guys headaches. I know there were accounting headaches previously, and we could circumvent those by going your route.
Absolutely. Yep. Just shoot me that info and we'll go from there.
With Kyle, one question for you. And do you think that the company that you worked with do you want to work with them more since they already did it? I have a little bit of an issue with the company because of the other thing they put you through. And I feel like they also should have maybe piped up and been like, are you like, I'm not, again, accountability none of us would have known, but I feel like the other issue they put you through, do you want them to do it again? Or do you want to look at somebody else? But are we going to screw up the continuity?
So the nuance here is that I'm a little gun shy to change providers because it was so hard to get it done properly. And now they know exactly how it needs to be printed. And it's a small adjustment. They can just make the run again. Do I want to work with that company again? No, I do not. But I think that it's likely that it would save us some headaches. And we've already experienced so many that's kind of worth its weight in gold.
Okay. That was fair enough. Well, I mean, it sounds like this is pretty straightforward, but again, to be very clear, you do not shoulder the financial responsibility for this. This was voted on by this commission. We backed it, and I appreciate you. Everything you have done so much pro bono. It is just off the table. So if you guys want to start working on a redesign of those three, do a run of 3 white lettering banners to see how they look. Maybe do a drive and see where we could put, like, I'm trying to think, because to keep the design flowing, will it look weird that we have some that have black and white lettering and then some that have just white lettering?
So same question arrived in my mind. My thought was start with the ones that need to be fixed, get them up. And if we need to do a run of the others, then we can do that. That the additional cost in breaking it up would be almost zero. I think there's a setup fee.
Okay.
So just doing the whole lot, redoing the whole lot with all white lettering, I think would add cost that might be, we might be overdoing it, and it might look fine with the mixture.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say until they're up, as we've seen. Like, it's just, you can only glean so much from a computer screen.
Well, it sounds like, the solution is pretty easy. I think if you are able to work on a redesign and get that to Jen so she can facilitate the printing of 3, and then we can go through and do the bigger job after. But the design is good, and thank you for all your hard work on that. And I appreciate your offering to take the financial responsibility, but that's not happening. So, okay.
Well, my apologies for it all, and I'll continue to stick with it until everyone's happy with it.
Well, the design's rad, and I think we all agree with that's the one thing, is everybody agrees that the look of them is really cool. So, and they're very eye-catching. So that's good. All right. Anyone else have anything else on the banners? Okay. Moving on. The mission statement, I sent it to you guys yesterday. Just get me your edits back. We don't need to spend a ton of time on this. Kevin, I apologize. I don't see it in my email. But if you guys can just get your edits to me, that would be cool. We will get it done before the end of the year. Anyone else have anything else on that?
Well, I guess the only quick comment, it's not a complicated mission statement. It's nice and small and concise. And I'm not suggesting you put anything in there, but it seemed to be focused on enhancing the experience of people coming to town, which is correct, and we should do that. But what lacked in the mission statement is any reference to attracting and people to town, generating more people coming to town. And maybe that's, kind of implicit in the other things the mission statement points to. But I guess I just would want to make sure that, are we trying to just, if people come to Georgetown, they're going to have a great experience, or are we also trying to pull people into Georgetown as well?
That's a super valid point, and I am open to any edits on this. Basically, the goal of this, when we had this discussion, was to have something that identifies us to the community as to what our goals are, and something that we can reference and circle back to go, okay, well, does this fall within our scope of purview? So take it away, edit it. Nothing will offend me. So
Steve, I think that's a great observation. I think we need to attract, develop, and keep customers.
That's a great way of phrasing it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good way to put it. That's my 2 cents.
All right. 6th Street. Oh, sorry. I don't want to move on preemptively. Okay. Kevin, you had brought up at one point these 6th Street lamps, and I'm pretty sure that basically what we all want to talk about is that they need a little bit of attention. Is that correct?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Especially with Christmas market coming and the decorations being put back on them. There's some safety issues with outlet covers. There are paint issues, there are lens issues, there are light bulb issues, there's lights are running during the day, costing the town money. So there's a lot of issues to see too. I'm not sure all of them can be fixed before Christmas market. My most pressing concern is the safety. There are exposed wires.
The went through, there's a couple different lamps that are missing some glass panes. Staff is working to get those replaced. So that'll be rectified here shortly. I know about that, but as far as the other electrical issue, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah, the one pole that catches my eye all the time is right by the public parking lot at Taos and 6th. There's wiring sticking out of it, but even in front of Sable, there's a missing or dislodged cover plate for electrical. So it's I wouldn't say widespread, but it needs to be seen to.
Okay.
And then I'm confused by the change of light bulbs. We a few years ago decided on a specific type of light, and now I see a mix of light bulbs.
We were just trying to figure out whether you would notice it or not, Kevin. So now that has occurred, we'll put them all back to one. So
yeah, because I hate to undo the decision that was made by this group, because we took the time to look at the different styles, go there at night, see what the effect was. We decided, and now I see that we've deviated from that.
Okay. And it might have to do with the inside. So I'll check with that too. Okay. As far as the receptacle inside.
Yeah, understood. And then it just pains me to see lights burning during the day. And that's on the north side of 6th Street. Yeah. So if we could see to that. Does the town pay for those lights, the electricity?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
But Excel's the one who's the maintainer. The hard thing is they'll come up here and they'll work on it, and it's hard enough to get them here. So as long as they're operating, that's a good thing. But no, not operating during the day. So we'll try to address that with them.
Great, thank you.
Okay. So thank you, Kevin, for pointing that out. I don't know if there's anything else that we need to tackle on that, since it seems like it's pretty straightforward from town's perspective. Is that accurate? Okay.
Sure.
Well, as always, I don't spend enough time at night in the historic district, so I'm always grateful when you guys put this stuff on the agenda so we can all talk about it. I'm just stuck down there in roundabout land where all the lights are, LEDs or something. All right, the mural on the water tank. That was also something you had asked for an agenda ad, Kevin, and I will let you talk about that as well.
Somehow it has changed in appearance, and it used to say exit now, and now it just says now. And so it doesn't make any sense. And I don't know how a big word like exit went away. What's going on with the water tank?
I think CDOT made us get rid of it.
CDOT said, take it off or be banished from state of Colorado. No, they didn't say that, but they threatened, they said there can only be one exit now per exit. And I don't know, actually, I don't even know where the other exit now is, or exit. So when I first, it was 3 years ago. And they had a new director that was noticing these things, and we had the exit now on the water tank for 10 years. And he said, you need to take it off. So we ended up painting over the exit and that took care of the problem. And we left the now, but it's, yeah, it is kind of strange. You can't see it for very long because it's kind of at a weird angle, but CDOT made us take the exit off. So,
well, here's a little backstory on that water tank. I was here when it was constructed, and the town went to the citizens of Georgetown and gave them 3 choices of color, a solid color. And the green that was chosen was the unanimous choice. So when the mural went up, I felt that that went against the decision of the community to paint it a solid green. So I'm wondering if the whole mural should be taken down and go back to what was voted on initially. I never understood why the decision was brushed aside and money was spent on that mural, and now the mural doesn't even make sense. I think we need to think about painting the tank green again and going back to its original intent. I voted for that green, and a lot of other people did too. Thank you.
So, Kevin, I want to understand what there was like an actual vote in town just to paint the water tower green.
Yeah, it was during Tom Hale's time. I'm sure that those records could be resurrected, but Tom was very good about going to his stakeholders about that tank and the color. And so I'm sure it has to be on record somewhere.
I mean, that's a super interesting construct. And maybe that's something that we should try to do. I mean, I personally think that the mural looks a little like it's a little dated and kind of needs some attention. I mean, it's obviously the intent is obviously there in a positive way for people to be like, oh, look, but it isn't the most attractive thing on the highway. But I think
I think it adds to visual clutter. The intention of that green that was chosen was to help diminish the appearance of the tank, not draw attention to it. So I think the whole mural is off track and has been since the beginning.
Well, I mean, is that obviously there's some issue, we have our town administrator is currently outgoing. And so it would be a project for us to maybe take on. But I think that we could do that and kind of I would say maybe after, so short and long-term solutions. Do we paint over it now just so it doesn't look so bad and then come up with a bigger plan when we have the ability to get to our stakeholders and have a conversation about it? Go ahead, Paul.
I'm with Mary Smith. She just pointed out that because this was I agree with everything that's been said. I should say that. And I remember when the mural went on, I remember exactly how the mural was driven and all of that. But now it's been there long enough. It's like 8 years, I think, or 9 maybe, that we need to present this in an open forum for the town to be able to get involved and give input, because if we just go in and paint it ourselves, then we're opening ourselves up to a PR issue.
I totally agree. What I'm trying to figure out is the solution for the awkwardness of the now 228 piece, or if we just ignore that till we figure out a solution.
Well, I don't think we should be moving forward with anything that's like this while we're about to change administrators. I think that's going to be challenging. Yeah. And I think that this really is a selectman decision and not ours. Maybe we were pushing for it to be done at that time, but the selectmen really needed to. I personally think the selectmen need to take this on because it's a town property thing. And if we're no longer interested in advertising on that tank, which maybe we should think of, maybe we should put a pin in this and think about it for another month. And if we all have an opinion or not, whether or not we want to make a recommendation for the future is my thing. Am I stepping on your toes?
No, you're not. I mean,
the mural was not driven by this commission. It was driven by the police judge at the time.
Okay, go ahead, Kent.
I think you're not going to paint the tank until next summer anyway. So, yeah, I mean, this is the wrong time of year to start that project because you're not going to be able to paint it. Finish the painting. So it's a next summer type of thing. But what I could see is that the promotions commission make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen to say, hey, this is a topic that probably should be addressed. And just the comments that have been made here. And then the decision about what to paint it, that could be part of the recommendation saying, we'd appreciate it that it, a little bit of thought and a little bit of asking be done with that.
No, for sure. And it is super awkward when you just drive by and you say now 228, but I knew the CDOT now, right now. It's so confusing. But I don't know who told me that, but I was like, why did CDOT do that? That's so weird. Like they apparently do if it's on I-70. That's a trademark CDOT word. Well, I agree. Let's definitely continue this discussion. We'll add it onto the next agenda, kind of, maybe poll your neighbors and friends and see how many people even notice we have a banner or a mural up there, and we'll take it from there. All right.
I just wanted to add real quick some color to this conversation.
Oh,
my highway sign has been face down on the ground before the Georgetown exit since the fall of October. And I have followed up, I can't tell you how many times, to put the bloody sign back up, and it's still laying on its side. So it just one more opportunity to have some government agency irk the hell out of me by saying a water tower that says exit only is causing some problem, wasting then town resources to have to paint over it and all that other malarkey. And they leave a revenue generating sign laying on the ground since 2 years ago. Thank you very much for allowing me this opportunity to voice my frustration.
I don't think anybody in the state of Colorado is going to ever argue that CDOT is the world's most efficient organization, especially people that live on the I-70 corridor. They do serve an amazing purpose, but it's actually a really interestingly run agency. If you dig into it, they run independently of the state. Actually, that's what I've been.
As the operator of the Gateway Visitor Center, I would like to say that CDOT does an amazing job keeping us safe on the roads and getting us to where we want to go. Thank you, CDOT, for being such a great partner with our town.
I'm gonna stop talking before I get into trouble. Thank you for everyone. Thank you, CDOT, our highway overlords. We are grateful for you. All right, so that took a weird turn. Wouldn't be promotions if it didn't. The discussion that I wanted to give some time to, and this is good because I think it's probably going to end up being about 30 minutes or so. Jen and I met yesterday, and Jen had some interesting observations as this being her first leaf season in Georgetown, and kind of the things that she's witnessing as far as the struggles that we're experiencing, probably more than any of us have ever seen, with keeping the businesses operating, functional, open, and able to serve the amount of tourists that are currently coming into town. I think we all are aware that this particular time of year we're all pretty exhausted, but we're also very happy because it's busy, and we know that what comes around the next corner is the opposite. And so, but Jen was hearing some comments in her time on 6th Street, and I'll let her kind of talk about that, where people were complaining about the lack of open businesses and the lack of people able to serve. And so when she talked to me, it was more of a, how do we solve this problem from a positive standpoint? What can we do to support the businesses? And that sparked a discussion about marketing for a bigger picture and a different demographic, and not marketing towards workers to come to Georgetown to work. So I'm going to let Jen kind of talk about her comments, and then I want to open it up to the commission and see what your guys' thoughts are on how we can make this a long-term solution. This is not going to solve this year's leaf season crisis, but it could potentially be a game changer for us if we do it the right way going into winter, where we will probably have a better winter, and spring and next summer. So go ahead, Jen, and you can talk a little bit about what you told me yesterday, and then we will open it up to discussion.
Sure. So I kind of like tootle around 6th Street off and on just to kind of hear, to check in with businesses and see how they're doing, but also to just kind of hear as a fly on the wall what visitors have to say when they're in town. And these last probably 2 weeks for sure, businesses have been closed for various reasons of exhaustion, needing a rest, just cannot support with the staff that they have, cannot support the people here. And then I'm hearing as a pretend tourist, the disappointment in conversations about, oh, I really came here because I wanted to go to X establishment, or I'm really sad that I can't go into this business. It's closed. This is closed. We know that the eating is an issue. That's not new, but even just the retail businesses, there's a sense of disappointment amongst our visitors because establishments are not open. And so I just brought that to Amanda yesterday and trying to brainstorm ways that we could, in some way as a community, support businesses that are clearly, to no fault of their own, exhausted and do not have the staff to support what they're trying to support and are open and running with the same staff 7 days a week when they do remain open, and that just complete fatigue amongst business owners. So that's sort of where I'm coming from. It's hard, obviously, for me. My job is to bring people into the town of Georgetown, and I want them to have a positive experience. How, as a commission or as people or as a community or as a town, can we dig in and try to help support the businesses that are struggling and try to help them get the staff that they need, or a volunteer type of schedule or something to alleviate some of this. So that's where that all came from.
I have a comment. I am understaffed, but not insufficiently staffed to stay open. I need more business before I need more staff. By having more business, I can grow my staff. So I can't afford more staff than I have with the business I have. So I need customers. That first.
That's good to know, Kevin.
So I have a comment on this. So first of all, obviously what's affecting Georgetown is true for most, if not all, mountain communities. I was in Aspen at my son's wedding the other weekend. It seemed less so that they were having an issue, but also you pay $25 at least for a hamburger in Aspen. So they can probably afford to do whatever they're doing to have labor there to keep the places open. My son then went to Telluride for a couple of days after the wedding, and he was amazed at how much was shut down. Restaurants that have been there for years were still closed inside, only had a couple of patio seats on the outside on the street that they were being allowed to do, and it was mostly carry-out business. And so, and you would think Georgetown would have an advantage over what I would call a landlocked community, such as Telluride or Crested Butte or anywhere else. We've got that little town called Denver down the road. And it occurs to me that there is an opportunity to market and to educate potential workers. I personally wouldn't be able to utilize probably a volunteer system or anything else for my businesses, because there's a lot of training that goes into it, and it's all about customer service, and that might create more work than perhaps we'd get a benefit out of. But it'd be great to be able to market to a demographic as Business Promotions Commission that is our workforce, versus trying to attract tourists, and do it at the same time, where you point out things. Living in Lakewood, Colorado, or one of the bordering communities along the Front Range, has a commute time of 30 minutes. There's still perception issues with the fact that Georgetown is in the mountains. It's removed, but people would much assume drive 45 minutes to an hour to a job that's located in Denver, versus driving 30 to 40 minutes to a job located in Georgetown. And those are the kind of things that you don't have to solve the housing issue, which the housing issue is important for our community. There's no affordable housing, but those are the kind of things we can probably do and use to be able to start attracting candidates, and have, because the people I get wanting to work in my business are people that want to work and live in the mountains. They're willing to sacrifice pay, not a lot of pay, but they're willing to take a little less than they would get in the big city, because they want to live and work in the mountains. Well, we can solve half that equation by having them work in the mountains and get their feet wet. And then they can eventually solve their problem with housing as they become part of the community. I'm just surprised at how many people I'm seeing coming they're moving from another state to Colorado, and they still got this dream about living and working in the mountains. And that's a great untapped potential, in my opinion, but you gotta help them figure out where to live. But they have to do the hard work themselves as well. And we talk about the fact, I've got a couple of guys living in vans right now that are my best workers. They're rock climbers, so I guess that's what rock climbers do these days. They don't really live in real places, but those are the things we have to do creatively, I think, in the immediate term to help us out. And then there's longer term solutions that we can talk about as well.
That's excellent point, Steve. And I think that I wrote a long list last night. I was up until like 1 a.m. thinking about how to approach this. And, obviously the pitfalls that we face we're not immune to the housing crisis that is hitting Colorado. But if people come to the community and get to know somebody because they work in, a place, and someone will be like, oh, did you hear about this place coming up for rent? And they find it before it, ends up on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Or they are able to make a connection and make a friend, and someone's like, well, hey, I need a roommate, do you want to come live with me? And then they get to that next step. I have 3 people on my staff that commute from Lakewood, and they are extremely reliable. They do occasionally run into issues with traffic. I write their schedules actually opposite of most of the heavy commute days. So I don't schedule them on Sunday morning, or, I schedule them to work Sunday night, so that when they get off work, they don't run into the crush of traffic going home. I don't schedule them to open the restaurant on Saturday morning. I schedule them to work mids or later on Saturday. And I don't schedule them to work Friday nights so they can get here. And unless I-70's closed, they rarely run into issues. And if I-70's closed, then we deal with it in a different way. But those people have been on my staff for 2 and 3 years. And they're some of my best employees. So it is doable. And they actually like coming up here because they make good money. They make mountain living money, and they like being in the mountains, and they like that, they have ski passes. And so they'll go snowboarding before their shift, and we have corporate passes. So they'll check out the corporate pass and they'll go snowboard, and then they'll come in and close the restaurant for dinner. So I think we can do some things to appeal to these people and give them good reason to go, okay, this is a good place to work. I would love to be here. And then that also in turn creates more customers for people like Kevin who want to grow their businesses, but because we have more options for people. because there's places for them to eat, there's shops for them to shop, there's things for them to do, there's places for them to stay, their room will get, there's the tourists will come. We don't need to, we do need to attract more tourists, obviously. That will never end. But we have to be able to serve those tourists. And I think that part of this leave season that's been so frustrating is when you look at someone and tell them it's 90 minutes for a table, and that is no exaggeration, because there's 30 other parties ahead of them on the wait list. My restaurant has to turn 2 times in some cases before I can get a new customer in. And they look at you and they're just defeated, and you just feel horrible. You feel horrible. They're like, we have a train, we sat in traffic, and they're angry and they're tired, and you can't help it. And it's like, it's hard. And it's hard when, we're so busy that we run out of food in 2 days, and then our emergency delivery doesn't come. So we have to close an entire shift because we have nothing to serve. And so being able to have those resources out there that we could take better care of customers is only going to translate to a better Georgetown. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to piggyback on what you just said, Amanda. Sorry that this conversation has to be.
And this.
Sorry, Kevin was talking. This conversation is a little restaurant centric, but I think that's where we really get hit hard by people not having a good experience when they come to Georgetown. And that facilitates them being able to go to the other attractions and shops in Georgetown. People need to eat, but I'm not the smartest. I'm not the smartest guy on the block, but to have a restaurant that is conditioned and staffed to serve an average number of people, give or take, during the week and during the weekends, and then to expect that restaurant to be able to double and triple their business to accommodate the peaks is just very unrealistic. I'll be honest with you. I sold a crap load of hot dogs and brats over the past 3 weekends, and it facilitated selling beer, and it was all great, and we had people spread all over the property that were having fun, and they enjoyed it. But I didn't get in this business to be a hot dog vendor, and so we really, the longer term solution for solving this problem is the continued economic development of the town, being able to attract businesses that can run themselves well 12 months out of the year versus just for a couple of busy weekends. And where I'm going with this, and I'll be quiet after we're done, but I think the big, a lot of the work we have going forward is to attract the right businesses to come to Georgetown, almost from a development perspective, to be able to have the right mix of businesses, the right types of restaurants, and that's ultimately going to help drive and solve this problem, and allow places like Cooper's or my upcoming place, Silver Brick, to be able to operate in such a way where we make good money, but we don't kill ourselves, and even experience a double-edged sword that we pack our restaurants so much during these times. And yeah, you get some happy people that got food in their belly and drinks in their belly, but then you got the idiots that are rating you very poorly because they had to wait, or it was too crowded and things like that. So it's a tough problem to solve. And I don't know, that's kind of my stream of consciousness. Thanks.
Kevin has his hand up, and I do want to hear from Paul and Justin. And then I want to talk about a grant that is being offered specifically for recruitment and retention. Kevin, go ahead.
Okay. I think that we need to get away from this survival mentality where people see other businesses as competition, and we need to think more like a community. And here's a for instance. I have people daily come in and say they want to take a tour, but they need to eat first, and they will come back after they eat. They never come back, and I know why. Because they have a long wait, and then it takes a long time for them to get seated, and then it gets a long time for them to be served. So by the time they're free again, they're exhausted, and my tours might be over for the day. I lose customers all the time because of slow restaurants, and I would say most of them are downtown. So I'm very eager to see other restaurants open, and I'd also like to see the restaurants that are open step their game up a little bit. They're costing me customers. Thank you.
That's super fair. Paul?
And I guess the question that, sorry, Paul.
No, go ahead, Jen.
The question that, that comes back to that is, that's what I want to know. How do we help that happen? How can we support that? We know, as Steve just described with what's happening in Telluride, this is a nationwide problem, but I think we have a unique opportunity here as a community to try to internally come up with some type of, I'm trying to say solution to try to combat this here because of the community that we have. So where that is, what Kevin is saying, and I totally get it. I hear it all the time. What's the solution that we can take to try to push forward to help alleviate that issue?
Well, yeah, because I agree with everything Kevin said, but you're not. Good luck telling someone how to run their business. I mean, and on top of that, you don't really know what's going on there. Alpine used to be a great place to absorb a lot of the excess the excess customers. For whatever reason, with the change of ownership. Sorry.
Everyone's struggling. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I'm trying to be mindful that we're not talking about how any specific businesses are operating, because I think we need to focus on the problem that, and I did not mean to cut you off, and maybe I was thinking it was going a different direction, but
No, I'm simply trying to defend everyone's ability to run their businesses as they can and as they are. And I was using Alpine as an example, and I'll use my place as an example where, you make the investment in the business, and you have to decide what's profitable or what has the least amount of loss for your business to do that. So, I think where Jen was going is yes. What are the solutions to it? And I don't know how you have a solution to tell, when it all boils down to how are people operating their businesses, because we are all suffering from the same phenomenon. Coopers, I'm going to single out Coopers. They run out of food. They get a late delivery truck. They close at random. I don't think it's a matter of Amanda having to step up her game. I think Amanda has stepped her game, and I assume the same for places like Alpine and the Happy Cooker and other places. These are real problems, and supply chain is yet another double whammy that we suffer from. And so we get off of COVID, we have supply chain issues, we have hiring issues. And I empathize with every single business out there, including non-restaurants too. It's very hard, and it's not unique to Georgetown. And as a matter of fact, I would even probably argue Georgetown's probably doing a damn good job right now with what it's got. But I don't know.
No, and obviously we're all really passionate about this. And I think that what is hard is that, I won't speak for anybody else, but we had a payroll analysis done for free by the Colorado Restaurant Association, and our payroll costs have gone up 26% in 10 months. That's a lot. That's a lot to absorb. And when you're absorbing that, cost just in the attempt to try and bring people in. And I mean, they're still not here. So the goal of this is not, we know the problem. What I want to kind of hear from people is that, do we take an approach to try and market as a BPC to the Front Range and make this talk about why working in Georgetown and have basically a marketing campaign? The Colorado Restaurant Association put out this grant, and unfortunately we can't get this grant, but it inspired me to think about going to the commissioners or going to the Clear Creek County Tourism or the Board of Selectmen to see if we can get some type of funding into our community specifically targeted for recruitment and retention. Every restaurant in the metro area that's a CRA member is eligible to apply for this grant. They have $5 million that they're giving out to Denver area restaurants. Unfortunately, the cutoff for it is Jefferson County, so we don't qualify, but they get up to $10,000 specifically for hiring bonuses, recruitment and retention, additional benefits. They cannot use it for direct pay compensation, but they can use it for, a sign-on bonus, a long-term stay bonus, and potentially all of the recruitment and expenses that come along with it. And so my idea was that if we can find a pool of money, that's the first step. Where's the money? We can find some type of pool of money that we could potentially go to. And my first thought was the county, that we could see if we could use to distribute to individual businesses or to distribute to the town in general for a targeted marketing campaign. And that if somebody comes to work in Georgetown, that we could give that business $1,000 to sign that person on, or for relocation expenses, or $500 for transportation expenses. The second piece of this grant is a facilitated transportation. And so making it so that people can get from point A to point B in the city. And again, this is a county problem. And so how do we can we start looking at a long-term solution for transportation up and down the hill? Again, these are bigger pie in the sky solutions, but in the immediate short-term marketing to the Front Range, that why Georgetown's a good place to work, and having Jen go into every business that needs help. And this is the next step, as this comes through a survey, having her go into every business that needs help, getting bullet points as to why that business is a great place to work, why that would fit individual skill sets, how that could look. So I'm going to pick on Paul for the visitor center. Why would you want to work at the visitor center? Well, you're passionate about tourism and Colorado history. You enjoy working with people. You want to learn more about what it means to operate a visitor center. Although you could own a visitor center. You'd be a really good owner of a visitor center. You can build your own next to Cooper's, Georgetown 2.0. But using that as an example to get to interns at Metro, people who want to learn brewing, getting them to Cabin Creek, people who want to learn hospitality, who want to own a B&B. Why would they want to work at Rose Street? I don't know if you guys need help, Justin. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If you need help, having these targeted marketing campaigns that go to different individual colleges, to trade schools, and using our advantage to get these people to want to make that commute, and getting them here and showing them how great it is. Now, this is maybe very lofty, but instead of us sitting around going, we just can't get help, after this whole conversation with Jen yesterday, I was like, you know what, damn it, we're going to just get help, and we're going to figure it out, and we're going to show people why Georgetown's so awesome to work at. So that is the goal of this conversation. And unfortunately, we can't get this grant, but I'm sure we can find some other money. That is my piece. And now I really do want to hear from Paul and Justin. I'm sorry.
Okay. Some of these problems are ongoing. They were long before COVID. And I think that maybe that was what somebody was mentioning earlier, but I don't think, for me, my challenge is we've stepped up our pay scale and put in commissions because we do have a retail establishment that's open 7 days a week, to try to recruit people. I do have people who have applied to my position recently who are from other places. It's challenging for me at the visitor center because we are required to have the information portion open as well as our retail, which is our money that keeps that place going for the most part. it's a challenge for me to have people come from Evergreen or the other places, because I have 2 employees who are there long term, and I can't really schedule around traffic. And also, they're not coming up to make the money that you can potentially make as an entrepreneur, as a server in a restaurant. So that is a challenge for me. Maybe I keep having difficulty getting past that hurdle of, as an establishment that has to be open no matter what, and that means me working it, getting past that hurdle of people from other places. However, I am very interested in the reliable transportation component up here. I'm interested in how this serves well for the restaurant industry. I think the restaurant industry is key to us. I think that sometimes our retail establishments have always been challenged with their, how they're going to manage their hours and how to get people here. It's always been hard for that because of the pay scales, I think. But I would be interested in maybe offering solutions for how to create established hours in retail, how to, what days to take off if you need to take days off yourself, and you don't have to be open 7 days a week, but we need to encourage working together on those things, and how we can perhaps pool employees or perhaps work together in that sense. I'm interested also in the conversation around, and I wanted to do this years ago, but whatever, I don't have that kind of time all the time, but a volunteer pool system that works as a warehousing, and it's worked in large cities. I've always thought that it could work for our county and maybe some other areas with us. Some of the grantors that we could probably pursue, and I do have the grant book now, or the grant that I'm happy to share the grant warehousing database that I've paid for the year with any like nonprofits or people who are interested, like the town. We can share and look through that database as much as is legal if the CRC is listening to me. We can work together on that. I do think the Colorado Tourism Office is interested in granting, and they work in tandem with the state office, or the State Office of Economic Development and International Trade. The county is having some squeeze with some budget things right now, so I'm wondering where they're going to go with that, but we could look at them. And then the other one is the CCEDC. I know that I've attended a few meetings. I think you've attended a few meetings countywide, Amanda, about this particular issue and how we can try to overcome it, and how we can all work together to create solutions. We all know the problem. We've talked about that for this, especially now that it's been exacerbated by the changes in the workforce and supply chain during COVID. I will say, I want to put it on the record, though, that I think that our restaurants have met this with aplomb. I know for a fact how challenging it is to close on days when you've never closed before and you never would think about it. I know that it kills certain people. It affects certain people personally when they have to do that. I think that having a 2-hour wait, if you were normally always did and people were prepared for that, is great. I can't imagine what you're going through in that situation. I do know that people have been pretty cruel to us occasionally in the visitor center for some of the challenges that we're dealing with, or even parking. I had this man give me what for last Sunday for, I don't know how, he just went on and on and on about why I don't have a parking guard. I'm like, I don't even have staff. How am I gonna have a parking guard? I've got 2 people that work for me, 2, and I always have more than 5, and I'm working 7 days a week. Whatever, that's just the way it is. I think that it's wonderful that we're having this conversation. I think that we should share this conversation countywide. I think that we should also, I would love to offer the visitor center up for a meeting, a town meeting, if you want to do it, as long as it doesn't end up being some kind of slaughter fest about finger pointing and those kinds of things. If it's a solution based coalition of people who want to make some change and want to help on both sides, because we do work, to use an 80s word, symbiotically. I think that we can go forward. Anyway, blah, 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 blah. I'm in, I'll help wherever you want me to help. And I do need to change my attitudes about people coming up in the winter and opening doors and figuring out how to make that happen, because some of the people that are applying for my position now are from those places. It's just that I'm concerned about reliable transportation.
And it's fair. I mean, it does. It can be tricky. I would really like to hear, I see your hands up, Steve, but I do want to hear from Justin. And I know, Kyle, I'm not excluding you from that, but I know you texted me that you're putting out a lot of fires. So jump on whenever you feel like it. Don't think I'm ignoring you. Justin, go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. I was juggling a few things. Can you kind of just repeat the question? Is it just, how do we deal with the peak season kind of?
How can we as business promotions work on a targeted solution to attract workers to the area? We know the problem, but how can we support a solution to improve the workforce of Georgetown?
I don't really have anything without really gathering my thoughts on that to add to what I've already heard. We all know it's a complicated issue, and I don't have any answers really. I like what you said. I thought that was a great idea about trying to find a funding source, and gathering our resources to get the word out, to let people know that there is an opportunity here to come and work if they wanted to. But no, I don't really have anything to add at this point.
No worries. Thank you so much. Steve, I'll let you say what you wanted to say. And then, I wanted to kind of talk about the first steps that Jen and I talked about yesterday, and kind of get your all's thoughts on that.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add and bring up is the roundabout bus. I'm not sure what the history is behind it. And I see that there's nice bus stop signs that have gone up. I operate in 2 of the 4 towns in Clear Creek County. And I have people that live in Georgetown that don't have transportation. And it would be great to be able to rely on that bus to move them from Georgetown to Empire and back. But the buses stop running towards the evening. And I think as winter comes, they even pull that back further. And the only reason I'm giving you that background, which isn't necessarily related to conversation, is if we're trying to attract people from the Front Range, meeting them halfway at one of the parking lots, the carpool parking lots, and being able to pick them up there and bring them up with the right times, consistency, you got to make sure you're running on time and running the buses. I don't know what the charter is for the roundabout bus, but certainly to have them go beyond Idaho Springs and pick up carpoolers or people from the carpooling lots in Golden might be another near-term solution.
They actually have expanded that route pretty significantly. That's a great conversation to have with Beth, I think, is in charge of the roundabout. Kent, are you saying?
It's a county service, and Anne Marie is the main contact with the county as far as that goes.
They actually are, when I went to King Soopers in Evergreen the other day, there's a roundabout stop there, and they have one at Walmart now. So they've definitely expanded that service. So that's a great bullet point for the conversation. Basically, when this whole conversation started yesterday, the way that I kind of wanted to approach it, and obviously this is good, another good quick discussion for us, is maybe to start with some data gathering. And what I suggested to Jen Jordan was a survey that either went out like via SurveyMonkey, and then one that was a paper as well, that she would walk into the businesses with maybe 6 questions, not a ton, but just how many people do you need? How much can you pay? Are you, and it's basically taking the temperature of how many actual human beings do we need to come to this community to make it, somewhat of a staff improvement. Based off of that information that she gets from those businesses, start working on some targeted marketing campaigns that could be done via Facebook or, even some, I don't want to say videos, but some type of something beyond an Indeed ad that could be shared widely through social media and I'm going to use breweries as an example. If you are a kid who really wants to grow up and own his own brewery or her own brewery, well, here's a great opportunity for you to come work in a mountain town with 2 breweries. And this is the advantage that you would have. And why is Winona Pass a good place to work? Well, Winona Pass is a good place to work because we use certain processes that make us unique because of this, because of that, and bullet point and highlight why it's good to work in those businesses. Why is it, Parks and Rec? Let's talk about town businesses. Why, do you want to work in town administration someday? Do you have aspirations for city or municipal government? Well, then this is what town of Georgetown has to offer you to get you a starting foothold. So making it that we can kind of go after certain markets. But the first thing we need is the data. So that was my marching orders for Jen, but obviously that's not up to me independently. So after we get the data, come back, collaborate, see what the data says, and then make a plan from there. Those were my thoughts. And then in the meantime, I would take on the responsibility of trying to find revenue sources that we could potentially use for grants, to see if we could put some recruitment for businesses. And I will send you guys the CRA grant that is coming out, that came out today or yesterday rather. So you guys can read the language of it and kind of see where this is coming from. Again, it's not an option for us, but if we could potentially get into some other type of grant program or revenue source or funding, it could be huge for some of the businesses here. So like if you want to grow up and be a candy maker, this is why you want to work at the candy company. You really like rocks, this is why you want to work at the rock shop. There's opportunities all across for all industries, not just hospitality. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, just real quick. Rotary is very much involved with trying to find Clear Creek High School students money and scholarships for non-college type post-high school education, vocational education. And you have this entire pool of graduating Clear Creek County kids that, and it's been very difficult, very challenging over time to, work on that marketing message to say, there's a lot of money in vocations and there's a lot of money in Clear Creek County to be made if you don't want to go to college route. It's kind of like, do you want to earn a lot of money right out, shortly after high school and getting certified in something or learning a job, or do you want to go in college debt, to the tune of, $100,000 when you're done at least, plus or minus, and then not be able to find the job in your chosen field because they don't exist. You've spent all that money for college. You're going to come and work as a bartender anyway to help pay back your student loans. I mean, there's this whole education process, in my opinion, that needs to happen to start shifting the mindset a little bit of kids who aren't necessarily the best fit perhaps for college because they don't want to be and they want to do something different. And I think that's part of anything the town does to try to make this effort. We ought to really hit Clear Creek High School very hard and make them part of what we're doing, just like Rotary has tried to, and to some degree, some success, but we don't get any interest. Here's some free money, go to culinary school, go learn to be a plumber and electrician, and we don't get anybody to apply for these scholarships because they all want to go to, college and get a job, post-college graduation. So
I think nobody knows what they want to be when they grow up when they're 18. You think you do, but you don't. And I think that, there's, like Kevin said, gap years. I think it's an amazing program because I don't think every kid is meant for college, 100%. And it's not the end all be all, but that also, I think, partially stems too from, that's a separate conversation. Well, that doesn't apply here. I'm going to stop that one. I think this was a really good discussion. So is everyone good with the first step of the data being gathered to see?
You can, and like all the auto functions, it'll go through and it'll read what's actually.
I think they're talking production stuff over at Justin's place where we're sitting right now.
Could you possibly mute Justin? I don't have the ability to.
There's supposed to be a Manny license.
Muted.
There's not much to it.
I can't find this.
Justin, mute.
It's like this. None of the Manny stuff pops up.
Okay. Let me text him really quick. In the meantime, so we'll start with the data. We'll keep this on the agenda as kind of a standing item. The work support update. Is that fair for it?
That we turn to, but a little bit of a brick wall.
You broke up, Amanda. I'm sorry.
We will keep this on the agenda as the workforce support update. Does that sound like a fair discussion point? And we'll just keep it on the agenda.
Okay.
We got 20 minutes.
Perfect.
So for me,
And this stupid ass meeting will be over too.
so for my end of this, I am going to develop the survey, send it out via email and a paper copy. That's the first action item here, correct?
Yes, you'll do the survey. Sorry, you cut out a little bit there.
That's okay. Everybody was like frozen like this and it was really creepy.
Oh, and I'm sorry, just to comment on the chat, the J1 situation, I do have J1s. It is very difficult because of COVID right now. There's more people that are able to come through with J1s than there was previously, but there is so many countries that still are not allowing J1s to the US. It's actually going to be hugely challenging for Loveland this summer, but there's like maybe 7, maybe a dozen countries at this point. It is worth exploring. I actually have an agency I work with that I can share, but it's trickier than it has been in years past because of the COVID thing, that little pandemic, Paul, I think you had your hand up. You didn't have your hand up. Okay. Awesome discussion, you guys. I really appreciate it. I think I'm really excited about finding some solutions, and it might not be, like I said, this is very lofty today, but I mean, if we got 10 people to come to this town and work, I would say it was worth the effort. If we got 5, I would say it was worth the effort. So we'll keep it on the discussion, and Jen will get the data. If you guys have any specific questions, Jen, maybe when you compile your questions, if you wouldn't mind sending them out to the commission to see if anybody's got something they would really like to see on there, that would be awesome. But the goal is for us to have the data available to us at our November meeting, so that if we can get that information back, and it might be a lot of legwork on your part of having to like walk into places, but that's awesome. Okay. All right. Anything else on this before we wrap up today? We just have to do the minutes. Did anyone get a chance to look at the minutes? I did not see anything specific in minutes. The new tree's cute. I did submit the budget worksheet to Mary. The budget discussions will start next month. I don't have anything else for the minutes. Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make that motion.
I have a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, it is 9:45 a.m. I make a motion to adjourn.
Aye.
I need a second. Anybody?
Second, aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Excellent discussion today. Thank you for an awesome meeting. I'm excited. And Kent, thank you. We will not see you after today. Oh, Paul, go ahead.
No, go for it. I have an announcement. Saturday night is .0 at the Heritage Center. It's a very limited seating. There are 8 seats left. I'm looking for volunteers and I would love for you to attend. Proof of vaccination is required. That's all I wanted to say.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And Kent, good luck to you in your next endeavors. Thanks for supporting the commission all these years. Where are you going?
I'm going to Goodland, Kansas. So just a little bit over on the plains. That's all.
Well, is Toto to go with you?
Who to go with me?
Is Toto? The little dog. You're not in Kansas,
We'll have to find a Toto, but maybe, yeah.
Well, best of luck to you. I'm sure we'll see you before you actually go, but thank you so much. All right, ladies.
Well, I'm sorry, could I ask a real quick question? So Kent, sorry to see you go. What's a plan for replacement and all that?
The board is interviewing 4 candidates for interim administrator. They had a meeting last night and got a couple taken care of. They'll get a couple more next Monday. And then they'll probably make a decision next week to make an offer and see if we can come to a contract with somebody. That person would probably start within a week or 2 after I'm not here on October 15th. So towards the end of October, hopefully, to have somebody in place as an interim, and then that person will work for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months while the process to search for the next regular person occurs. And then Mary will convince that person and twist their arm and have them fall in love with Georgetown and come here. So that's the process. That's the plan at this point.
Are you in charge of the giant Van Gogh painting?
Not yet, no. But it is there, yes. But maybe it should be just green, like the water tower here. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Wasn't painted by Wendell.
Will KDOT yell at you if you write exit on it?
Probably. That was the most surprising thing, to have some new guy come and say, you need to take that down. So.
Well, again, thank you so much for supporting the commission. And best of luck in your future endeavors.
Well, no, you guys, you have a good group. Keep it going.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great Wednesday, everyone. We'll look forward to the survey. Bye.